to another lesson here, Boston Media House, with the radio short course. Myself, Chris Jordan, and we are ending Unit 2. We are on Lesson 2, where we are looking at your on-air personality and different aspects of it. In the previous lesson, just to recap, it was all about just like honing in on the spin methodology and finding out like a little bit of introspection, like put yourself in your own Oprah session, your own Oprah moment, sit down, figure out who it is that you are, what you can offer as a professional, what makes you stand out. I want to start like that because this lesson is really about the semantics of like how do you, what are you building around you, you understand, in terms of like your social media presence, the way that you understand how to create content, whatever it may be, and the way that you approach things as well, what it is that you want to share with the world at the end of the day, to be able to know who you are and where you stand and what you want to say. And that obviously changes throughout life, so don't think that you are saddled to exactly one particular persona. Do you understand? You're a persona that grows, that matures, and that obviously lives in a world around you, that experiences different things and obviously reacts and would like to share them and communicate them in different ways, in different spaces and to different people, right, at different times, right? I want you to think about also just a kind of, again, that basic foundation of being able to build that personality. Build the personality around other added value tools, I would say, right, tools, and how you are being able to communicate without even being at a radio station. That's the thing. I'm not saying that our end goal here is that you want to be at a radio station, right? You want to be on air. That's why you're doing the course, and that's the best place to also be, like just for me, right? Okay, to be on air, but you can build this persona and you can build content and you can build life, man, as a content creator. Everywhere else, you don't need a radio station to actually do that. And in fact, when you do apply at a station now, these days, right here in the 2020s, right, you wanna be able to answer the question, well, what else have you done up to now? It doesn't matter that you haven't been on air. Have you done a podcast? Have you done a vodcast? You keep like a daily or weekly or a monthly vlog itself? Do you have a blog? Do you write? Do you create different, like I say, are you active on your Instagram, on your TikTok, whatever it may be, right? Let's get into some of the slides, and I am going to do a bit of reading here so that I can actually read and then obviously just elaborate on here. It's quite a short lesson, it's okay. And then we'll do the unit activity towards the end, or right at the end. Okay, so first let's consider it is given that talent is hired in no small part for the ability to generate and grow traditional ratings, right? We want to be able to bring people, excuse me there, just want to stop there. So we want to be able to bring people, as I said before in the previous lecture, like if you do not bring people, if people do not like you, then you do not have any place in this industry. And that is in general, like whether you are doing whatever it is, in any different craft within entertainment, like people need to like you. So you can be the likable bitch, or you can be the likable, really mean guy, like, I don't know, what's his name, Gordon Ramsay, that does most of the chefing and stuff. Like, he's a really mean person, actually, but people love him because he doesn't cross a boundary, doesn't cross boundaries, and that is his personality. You got to hone in on who it is that you're going to be, that you're going to offer to obviously the public and to the world, and then you've got to hone in on that. But what else? Okay, what are the hiring criteria that will be most valuable in the future? And this is something that I know that you're piquing your ears now. All of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I want to know what's going to get me like a job. Okay, for talent, nothing else will be more important than that talent, skills, and engagement that you do use with social media and digital platforms, right? So I want to move on to the next one, and we're going to ask a couple of questions, and I'm going to look, like I said, I'm going to elaborate on some of them. Let's look at the slide right now. So there are a couple of questions that you need to ask yourself. How big is your personal audience? The one that you have direct relationships with, as measured by social media. If you are new to social media or understanding social media or the digital space, like this means engagement or interactions or whatever it may be, right? So So there is gone is the time. Do not worry about the followers. I know it says there like how big is your audience, but the thing is people buy. So this has been figured out quite a long time ago, like 2 years ago, where they were saying, okay, what are the trends for digital platforms and your digital presence or whatever it may be, and it is not about the amount of followers that you actually have, because once again, I'll say this to you, you can go buy for $2.50, I think about 500 to 1,000 followers, even a bit more, I'm sure. You can buy subscribers, you can buy views, you can buy whatever it is. And so the thing is that, and a lot of people on social media are absolute liars. So for example, there was this one lady that was quote unquote a Coca-Cola influencer, right? Coke never, the brand Coke, never, ever, 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 ever. And I've been to a lot of their activations about their products or whatever it is. They've actually said to us, as the media said, we do not want you to go on air and say anything. You do not have to go on a digital platform and say anything. Like, we make enough money to never ever have to advertise ever again. And so what you see on billboards when you do see Coke or whatever it is literally a polite, gesture to an audience. People will always buy Coca-Cola. It's done, it's finished, it's over. Right, anyway. So now I wanted to say that Coke does not need an influencer. They are not in trouble. They do not need to reach a different audience or any audience. Everybody loves a Coke. After, like in summer, after a meal in winter with ice, I like that, myself. I must always have ice, like if you're on a road trip, if you're packing something for a picnic, like Coke is there, right? And so what I want to say about this is this woman she wore a Coca-Cola t-shirt. That's it, right? And she had like 5 million followers. 5 million followers, right? One, you also have to look at the interactions, right? So we've got 5 million followers. At least, 1 million people should be, at least, even like 500,000 should be commenting and like having a bit of engagement with you. There was hardly nothing there. We're looking at like 1,000, 2,000, perhaps maybe, of every post that she actually did or she posted up, like there was a bit of interaction. That's nothing, and that means nothing to the real scheme of things. So if you have, let's say, 100 followers and let's say 10 or 20 people do, let's say, answer or like whatever it is, like you're doing well, you're doing fine, because people are actually engaging with you in the right ratio. If you want to compare yourself to news sources, right? So for example, like your CNNs, your Sky News, whatever it is, and there's a ton of obviously news sources that are again only just online stuff, so there isn't a brick and mortar version of them, right? Like you'll see that a lot of them take an angle of being just information based and do not ask a lot of questions. They want to just put the information out there, and you'll see there's a lot of followers, no interaction, no engagement, but that is also narrated and it's dictated to them. We've got to understand the context as to, like, are we important, quote unquote, just because we have a certain number of people following us? Like you'll see a number, if you go through a lot of profiles, and you'll see there's 4 posts, but like 5,000 people following. Why? You have to ask yourself the question, why? That makes no sense. It makes no sense. And so something fishy is going on. If you want to be a radio practitioner or media practitioner, you have to, this is your first rule of thumb, on social media, you got to produce good content and develop yourself a digital calendar to do so. Let's look at some of the other ones. All right. How many Twitter followers do you have as well? How big is your Facebook fan page? So you must have each one of the big, like I said, the big 6, big 7, Instagram, Facebook fan page, so business profile, right? Twitter, what do we say there? YouTube, we said, TikTok, right? And then I suppose just for your own personal business self, your LinkedIn as well to add there. Okay, right. Okay, so how many Instagram, how many YouTube subscribers and total views do you have? Do you have a website? The website I can vouch for. So my largest traffic comes from my landing page chrisjordanmedia.net. So I mean, you've got to obviously understand the concept of search engine optimization to be able to bring people to your site, but the site has also got to be appealing to. I have no advertisers on the site. I don't need them. I get a good 2,000 to 3,000 people, unique followers or visits to the page that do go and explore the content. And you might say, oh, that's so little. Yeah, it's so little for a normal, massive general site. Mine's very niche. It's about broadcasting. It is so super niche that to have that amount of people coming in and out on the web, not on social media, is a great amount, and it's good, because the thing is, again, I have subscribers that don't go away. Also look at, let's say, like if you're looking at, let's say, your different social media pages, look at how many times you're losing people. So for example, we all know the trick. I follow you so you can follow me, only so that I can unfollow you a little bit later, so I can up my followers once again. I'm going all over the place with this, but anyway, right. Okay, so with the website, the landing page shows an essence or an element of professionalism, right? So where you're going to go do more. So mine has a shop on there. It's got obviously the Radio One-on-One as a separate like a learning portal over there as well. It's got obviously my blog posts, but it also has my web series that's on there, all my podcast series that are on there. Everything goes on there, and then dynamic feeds are actually inserted in there from my Twitter, my Facebook, my LinkedIn, my YouTube, even if my Iono account is also slotted in there to make it look fresh in the landing page, right? Okay, so looking at the email list is when they do subscribe to you, and when you do use something like MailChimp only please do not bombard people. Oh my word, there's nothing worse. You know it. Like when you have to say subscribe to something, to download something, or whatever it is, and then you start receiving like 2 to 3 emails a day. This is so annoying. It's so annoying. People will block that email address, unsubscribe immediately, and so you've done this with it's been pointless, your entire effort right there. Okay, in other words, to what degree do you, the talent, take responsibility for building your own personal brand, and how you can demonstrate the power of that brand to me? Okay, I also mentioned there the podcast that they need to be, everything needs to be on a different platform because you need to be somewhere. So also I'm on Spotify, I'm on Apple. Like you want to be putting it out everywhere so you can get a bunch of plays. I really focus on my podcast as well, just because, again, it's just an extension of the audio platform, which I really love. And then, again, being active, where it is that you need to be active for a certain amount of time through a digital calendar. In other words, from day 1 to day 30, I will say on day 1, I'm going to do an Instagram post. It's going to be an inspirational post. Like on day 2, I'm going to do a tweet, okay? And I'm going to do a tweet, like I'm going to do an original content piece tweet, you know. Let's say on day 14, I might do an original content video for YouTube, you understand? And then I might create, let's say at the end of the month, a live YouTube stream where I can interact with my followers and subscribers or whatever it may be, right? So the digital calendar is super important. Let's move to the next slide here. So if you approach a publisher with a book idea, one of the first questions is that they're going to ask you, how big is your audience, just in general? So these days, yes, like kind of like your monetary value is in how many people can you possibly access, or can we use you to access further. So I did say that followers are not important, because in the sense that a lot of them are fake, right? A lot of them are bought, once again. But if you have followers that you can obviously translate over as real people first and foremost, and people that are not leaving, like they are not unfollowing you, they're stuck there, they like what you got to say, you can obviously use that as again, like kind of like a trading, like a bit of a trade, you know, at the end of the day. Some talents like Keith Olbermann, Keith doesn't need to answer all these questions that he puts up on social media, because everybody knows what Keith is, or that Keith is a star with a built-in audience who will follow him wherever he goes, Quite the same for Howard Stern, right? So if you don't know who Howard Stern is like literally the biggest, the world's biggest shock jock. He is immaculate in terms of his broadcasting. He started Sirius XM. Like, I mean, you should go watch the movie. That he's like autobiography movie. It's so great. But the truth of the matter is, if you look at, let's say, the impact or influence or engagement or impression, all these technological terms for the digital platforms or digital space, like Howard Stern's got knocked down. It's fine. If he wants something and he'll ask something, he's going to get like tens of thousands of responses, like on Twitter or whatever it may be, should he want to go out and ask that. And how do you get there? Slowly. Do it slowly. Like, the thing is, and be consistent as well. But also allow yourself to grow and experiment with, let's say, the concept of how reels change so quickly and how you can edit your own reel like quite succinctly and quite nicely. Make it interesting, very cool, put some effort into it. And if you are unfamiliar with it, I know that you will stay away from it further. That's how human nature works at the end of the day, right? But go out and try, create all these platforms or these pages and start dedicating yourself to a digital calendar, and start executing and start producing and providing for your audience, right? Okay, all right, so let's look. Radio talent of the future will be social media and digital talents too. So that's fair to say. We've had, over the past couple of years, maybe at the 7 years or so, we've seen the influx of influencers, but also socialites, especially into the realm of radio as well. Some have stuck around. We know obviously Somizi is probably the first and foremost one that has kind of stuck around for quite a long time. He's not a great broadcaster at all, but a great henchman he is. Actually, he's not bad if he's put on in a sidekick role, as a contributor or whatever it may be. But as a presenter, like, there's a lot. I mean, there's professionals in terms of that professional broadcasts take its place, right? But we need to also understand that companies these days and radio stations these days are going to bring in people that do not, quote unquote, belong in the radio space. And they'll bring them in for color, and they'll bring them in for depth, and they'll bring them in for their audience that they do bring along with them as well, which is kind of fleeting at the same time, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you do follow the person and you are a devotee to what they do or say. If they say it on radio and you don't agree with them, you're not going to listen, right? You're not going to listen to the station if you don't like the format, if you don't like the presenters, if you don't like the teams, if you don't like the shows, whatever it may be. Like, you just won't follow that person. So obviously one of our biggest exports / whatever it is obviously Bonang, right? So Bonang made like exceptional, unique, what's the word I'm looking for? She broke a boundary, a very unique broken boundary, where, sidebar, just something really interesting, when she was doing the 10 o'clock show on Metro, you would see, let's say, the rams, so obviously where the rams are the figures of where the listeners are listening, right? They would tune in exactly at 10 o'clock, I've never seen that before, ever. You would see the flow coming in, maybe, let's say, 10 past 10 or quarter past 10, whatever. And the moment Bonang was on, it reached a peak as the highest, obviously, listened to show in Metro, and it would stay there. And obviously people have jobs and things to do, whatever it is, so it would kind of deplete over the 10 to, I think she had 1 o'clock, 10 to 1. But the thing is that it's a phenomenon, man. You never, ever seen that to the power of Bonang, right? But what I want to say about Bonang is, if you ask, so she sells seashells, right? She sells like clothing that's branded, right? That's very basic. I have asked around before I actually make this statement. I say, like, would you buy a 400 Rand Bonang shirt? Very, 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 very few people said yes, but the most of them that are Bonang fans say no. Like, I don't need that. I don't want that. And also, I said, well, if Bonang tells you to do something, will you do it? And they'll be like, at the end of the day, if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. It doesn't matter if my favorite hero, heroine in the whole wide world tells me to do it. I don't care at the end of the day. And so I want you to put yourself into the right mindset of what an influencer actually does. They might influence in terms of being able to sell brands and be able to maybe perhaps sell ideas or conversations, maybe to a push. But the thing is that only if you want to have that same opinion will you have that same opinion. And I'm sorry to say, but I'm sorry not sorry, if you are blindly motivated and directed as a human being by what one person says consistently on social media, then you're a vapid human being and you can't think for yourself, which is what there are some people like that out there, but in the majority, we all do think for ourselves and we do identify as an individual, unique human being with their own thoughts, actions, motives, etc. Right. So I always say this. Pick your favorite, your favorite superstar, whatever it is. Mine is Mariah Carey and Eminem. So if Mariah said, I want you, all my lambs, right? I want you lambs to now boycott Coca-Cola. But I love Coca-Cola, let's say. I'm gonna be like, look, Mimi, this is where we kind of separate our roads just for a moment. You can boycott them all you want, but I'm gonna still have my Coke with ice. You understand? She doesn't even have as my biggest, most favorite human being in the world. I'm saying that sounds terrible. My family are and God, right? But I'm saying as a superstar, Mariah doesn't even have that control, right? So I want you to think about this in terms of the pragmatic approach of being somewhere in a space with a place, and knowing that you as a content creator are there to share a creative opinion, creative entertainment piece, whatever it is. You want to connect people at the end of the day. So if you're looking at, let's say, for example, let's say you got a show, make sure that you are using the platforms once again to add value. You got an interview with someone coming up, then use it to tease, as we've seen before many times, right? Or do it as do the YouTube live afterwards so that people can ask a number of questions. A really big celebrity, have some follow through, that type of stuff. But make sure that you are present and you do have a presence on these platforms. Otherwise, every radio station that you go to and go apply with just a demo, they're going to say to you, no thanks, this isn't the year 2000 and it is 2020s, right? Okay, you got to have more than that to say. Let's look at the exercise or assessment for exercise for this particular unit. Okay, briefly describe your personality. In other words, answer the question any station manager will ask you, tell me about yourself. Remember when people ask you this, this particular question, tell me about yourself. It happens so much in our lives. Contextualize it for the correct environment that you are in. So when a station manager asks you about yourself, you must look at all the professional aspects that you bring in, plus all your personal aspects that are they act as advantage points to you as a radio broadcaster. Do you understand? Do not tell them about your life story if there are points in your life story where they are relevant to who you are right now and why it is that you support certain charities, or you're very kind of you're a stagnant feminist or whatever it is. That's cool. Bring that in, right? Okay. Name 5 skills that you think that you need to bring to the table as a professional broadcaster, and explain why they are necessary in doing your job properly. Okay. So remember. I say remember, no, not remember. Let me put a little bit of an image in your head. So you're outside a station manager's office. There's maybe even 5 people, just 5 people, right? Like each one of them know they've got administrative skills, or they've got computer skills, or they've got sound engineering skills, or so these are hard skills, right? They know how to do research. They know, I don't know, whatever it may be, right? You must be able to know that you've got to combine all these different aspects to be able to be the one that is uniquely greater than those other 4 people. If they are literally on the same page or path or level as you, like you're in trouble, and you should not wonder as to why you might not get the job at the end of the day. Using your answer in number 1, apply the spin methodology to your personality and characterize yourself according to each one of the areas. What will follow is some recommended reading, so you can have a look at those URLs, those websites that I provided there. There's the blog that you can go look at. Rather just, I would hit chrisjordanmedia.net when it comes to, let's say, my stuff. But there is radio intelligence there, and there's some quick and dirty tips that you can go have a look at. 3 secrets radio personalities don't want you to know, but they let you know anyway, right? Okay, I'm going to close it off there. Coming up next in Unit 3 is news.